uniform and lunch programs. That is a bedrock of corruption in your schools. And another thing you call desks and lockers. We provide desks through NGCDF. Last week I went to a school in my constituency that has only 189 students. That school has 28 teachers. I had given them 150 desks through NGCDF a year ago. They were asking me for another 50 desks. And I told them, I will not give you unless you show me a grade 9 student who went home with a desk. The desks are lumped up in a store somewhere. You give those teachers money for maintenance. They don't use that money, and nobody...
One thing which I also want to talk about is the issue of infrastructure. This committee, this house, had agreed that let infrastructure move to the CDF so that it is evenly distributed across. But I don't know why, at some point, we had done very well, and at some point now it is back in the ministry. I think we need to make a proposal that no infrastructure funds remain in the ministry. It should come to the floor and be distributed equally.
I've observed, I've been around for a while, that the infrastructure funds that you allocate to schools by your ministry is heavily skewed. I think you have the issue of, in quotes, high potential areas, low potential areas, even in education. In my area, and especially in the north, you have left issues of infrastructure entirely to CDF, while other regions, you complement them with the infrastructure funds. Now, you have talked about 1,600 laboratories in 1,450 schools. Where is the list? Why don't you publish that list in your website so that we see which schools are benefiting? Why is it a secret?
On the question of distribution of the teachers and infrastructure to areas that have been left behind, so to speak, as a ministry, we are focused on doing affirmative action to ensure that these areas are provided for, and also the question of rationalization of the resources that we have and the teachers that we have, so that we can redistribute the teachers to various schools that do not have them. We have a rationalization issue, and this is being done by TSC. We've had discussion with them to see in schools that do not have teachers, and we have teachers in another area where we have more, that distribution needs to be done so that no place is left behind. In terms of ensuring that we provide the list of the infrastructure that has been distributed, that will be submitted to you so that each person can see what has been allocated to where, from when to when.
And I want to venture and say that one of the reasons that you need to deal with is how you relate with the National Assembly. Because the law is very clear that you cannot implement certain policies without reference to the National Assembly. Maybe some of the problems you're going through would not actually be a challenge had these proposals been brought to the Assembly so that we deal with them as regulations. That way would have given you a better way of handling these things, as opposed to doing it in your office, because your ministry is known to be one of the most notorious in passing regulations in the form of circulars, in the form of, I don't know what opinions and communiques from your office.
Honorable Speaker, the CS says he does not know the amount required to educate a child from the lower grades to the senior grades, and is doing nothing about it, and is mixing that cost of education for one child with the funding that comes from CDF, donors, and other people. I would wish the CS goes back there, because even the Muria-led commission that is talking about, which brought out 15,000, must be in his office, and the PS is having the details.
Okay. I want us to go back to the day we saw a child return back from Lenana school. Let's think about it. Waziri, what steps is the ministry taking to facilitate the full participation of learners with different abilities in academic and non-academic programs, having in mind that we have many children with neurodivergency. Unlike my time when I was in school, majority of us were just physically handicapped. What happens to the children that have autism, that have intellectual disorders? As you cluster, where do you cluster that group of children?
Wazazi wanagharamika kulipa karo za shule. Na sisi kama wabunge pia tunasukuma kulipa karo za shule. Lakini kuna hili janamizi linaitwa remedial fees. Watoto wanafukuzwa kila uchao. Mzazi amelipa karo yote ya shule, lakini mwalimu mkuu na wale wanaohusika pale shule wanafukuza watoto kila uchao, warudi nyumbani hawasomi. Unatarajia vipi hawa watoto wapite mitihani yao? Tunataka kauli yako kama waziri na wizara. Je, mumehalalisha haya mambo ya remedial ama ni nini? Tunataka kujua kuanzia leo kama hiyo remedial is part of.
Why don't you pick your calls? I don't call you for anything personal. When I call you, I'm a representative of the people, and you don't pick your call. And you expect 350 members to come and camp in your office? Why don't you pick your calls? I text you, you don't return my text. Do you know that there are elected leaders whom you should liaise with when you are going to their constituencies? You come to Rangwe, they make for you tea, they do lunch, and you don't tell me you are in my constituency. Then you make a promise you are going to do a multipurpose hall. Nothing has been done on it up to today. How do you go to my constituency to do foundation stone and you don't involve me?
Honorable Lillian, I'm not quite sure that I've been to Rambwe to lay any foundation stone, but I apologize if I've not picked your calls. Going forward, I will endeavor to ensure that I pick all calls, but I've not been to that place.